Have you ever shown up for a blind date expecting an awkward dinner, only to discover that someone else's quiet act of love would change your life forever? When I walked into that little neighborhood restaurant, I thought I was about to meet a stranger. I never imagined I'd leave with a lesson about family, sacrifice, and the incredible power of kindness that would stay with me for the rest of my life. Before we begin, if stories that restore your faith in humanity mean something to you, please subscribe to Kindness Story, give this video a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us share more true-to-heart stories that remind the world kindness still exists. I arrived 10 minutes early, just like my mother had always taught me. The restaurant wasn't fancy, but it had soft lights, fresh flowers on every table, and the comforting smell of homemade soup. I checked my phone again, wondering if my blind date would actually show up. A few minutes later, the front door opened. A young woman stepped inside. She looked around nervously before helping an elderly woman with silver hair walk through the doorway. The older woman leaned gently on a cane, moving slowly with careful steps. The young woman smiled when she spotted me. "You must be Ethan." I stood and smiled back. "And you must be Lily." She nodded, then looked embarrassed. I'm so sorry." I was confused. "For what?" She glanced at the older woman beside her and quietly whispered, "I brought my mother along." I didn't know who else could sit with her. For a second, I didn't know what to say. She quickly continued. "My caregiver canceled at the last minute. I almost canceled our date too, but we've both had enough disappointment lately. Mom insisted I should still come." Her cheeks turned red. "I know this is probably strange." I looked at her mother, who gave me the sweetest smile. "I promise," the older woman said softly, "I'll stay out of your conversation." I laughed. "Actually, why don't we all eat together?" Both of them looked surprised. "You don't mind?" Lily asked. "Not at all." The relief on Lily's face was impossible to miss. We sat down together, and something unexpected happened. Instead of an awkward blind date, dinner became one of the warmest evenings I'd ever experienced. Her mother, Margaret, told funny stories about raising Lily as a single parent after losing her husband when Lily was only 5 years old. She joked about terrible school lunches, forgotten science projects, and how Lily once tried to rescue every stray cat in the neighborhood. Lily rolled her eyes. "She's told these stories 1,000 times." Margaret smiled. "And I'll tell them 1,000 more." The love between them filled the room. After a while, Margaret excused herself to the restroom. Lily's smile faded. "I should tell you something." I nodded. "I work 2 jobs." She looked down at her hands. "My mom has early-stage dementia. She can still recognize everyone, but she shouldn't stay alone for long. Nursing homes are expensive, and honestly." She swallowed hard. "I promised Dad before he passed away that I'd take care of her." I didn't interrupt. Most people hear that and disappear. She gave a small laugh that couldn't hide her sadness. They don't want a relationship with someone who already has so many responsibilities. I understood more than she realized. When I was 19, I had spent 3 years caring for my own grandfather after his stroke. I remembered the sleepless nights, the hospital visits, the fear, and the quiet moments that mattered more than anything. "I know what that's like," I said. Her eyes lifted. "You do?" I told her my story. For the first time that evening, she looked at me without worry. She looked hopeful. As the weeks passed, we kept seeing each other. Sometimes we had coffee. Sometimes we walked through the park with Margaret beside us. Sometimes we simply sat on her porch, listening to old songs while Margaret happily watered flowers that probably didn't need watering. I realized something important. Lily wasn't difficult to love because she cared for her mother. She was easier to love because she did. One Saturday, Margaret forgot where she lived. She became frightened in the grocery store. Lily called me, trying not to cry. I don't know what to do. I'll be there. When I arrived, Margaret was sitting quietly with a store employee who had stayed beside her until family arrived. Instead of rushing, I knelt beside her. Hi, Margaret. She looked uncertain. I'm sorry, she whispered. I think I'm lost. I smiled. That's okay. We'll go home together. She reached for my hand like a scared child. The drive home was quiet. When we arrived, Lily hugged her mother first. Then, unexpectedly, she hugged me too. Thank you. I realized kindness isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's simply staying when someone else would leave. Months passed. Margaret's memory slowly became weaker. Some days she remembered every detail of Lily's childhood. Other days she asked who Lily was. Those were the hardest days. One evening, I found Lily crying quietly in the kitchen. I feel like I'm losing her a little every day. I wrapped my arms around her. You're giving her something no illness can erase. She looked at me. What? Love. The following spring, I planned something simple. Not a fancy vacation. Not an expensive surprise. I invited them both to the small lakeside park where my grandfather and I used to feed ducks. Margaret smiled as the birds gathered around us. For a brief moment, she looked directly at me. I know you. You do? She nodded. You're the young man who never lets my daughter carry everything alone. Tears filled Lily's eyes. Margaret squeezed my hand. Thank you. Those 2 words meant more than any award or achievement ever could. A year after our blind date, I asked Lily to marry me. Before she answered, she looked toward her mother. Margaret smiled. He waited for both of us. Lily laughed through happy tears. Yes. Today, people sometimes ask how our love story began. They expect some romantic tale about perfect first impressions or instant chemistry. Instead, I tell them the truth. My blind date brought her mother along because she had no one else to stay with her. That simple act of honesty almost made her cancel. Instead, it gave me the chance to meet 2 extraordinary women whose strength, courage, and kindness changed my understanding of what love truly means. Real love isn't about finding someone with a perfect life. It's about choosing to stand beside someone through the imperfect moments. Kindness isn't measured by expensive gifts or dramatic speeches. It's measured by the quiet decisions we make every single day, to stay, to help, to listen, and to love when it's easier to walk away. If this story touched your heart, remember that every person you meet may be carrying a burden you cannot see. A little patience, a little compassion, and a little kindness can completely change someone's life, just as one unexpected blind date changed mine forever. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, keep believing in the goodness of people, keep choosing compassion over judgment, and never miss an opportunity to spread kindness. The smallest act of kindness may become the beginning of someone else's greatest story.